Welcome to our channel. Tonight we bring you 3 chilling New Year's Eve horror stories. True accounts of terrifying encounters on what should have been a night of celebration. Imagine, the clock is about to strike midnight. Fireworks explode overhead. But for the people in tonight's stories, the new year holds something far more sinister. Something that will transform this night of revelry into a fight for survival. So, lock your doors, turn off the lights, and get comfortable. Because tonight, we venture into the darkness, exploring the terrifying side of New Year's Eve. It was New Year's Eve, and the celebration was in full swing. Laughter and music filled the air, creating an atmosphere of joy and excitement. But for David, panic replaced the festive cheer. His heart pounded as he scanned the crowd, searching desperately. His beloved Labrador buddy had slipped his leash and vanished into the nearby woods. The leash lay abandoned on the ground. Ignoring the biting wind, David plunged into the dark woods, calling his dog's name. His voice echoed through the trees. Each rustle of leaves sent his heart racing. The once familiar woods now felt like an alien world. The woods, usually comforting, now seemed menacing. Shadows danced eerily in the moonlight. Hours crawled by, and David's hope dwindled. Exhaustion began to take its toll, but he couldn't give up. Just as he was about to give up, he saw them. 2 figures standing silently at the edge of the trees. His heart skipped a beat. Tall and thin, their bodies draped in long, dark coats. They seemed almost otherworldly. He called out, but the figures didn't respond. They remained eerily still, like statues. They simply stood there, unmoving. The silence was deafening. A shiver ran down David's spine. Fear gripped him, but he couldn't turn back now. Taking a hesitant step forward, David called out again. His voice trembled with a mix of hope and fear. As he moved closer, a faint orange glow emanated from the woods behind the figures. It flickered like a distant flame. Forcing himself to overcome the growing unease, David walked towards the figures. Each step felt heavier than the last. Then a faint whimper broke the silence. "Buddy!" Relief washed over him as he recognized the sound of his beloved dog. Sarah's car skidded on the icy road, spinning uncontrollably into a snowdrift. Blinded by the relentless blizzard, she'd lost control of her vehicle. Now her car was buried deep in snow, the engine completely dead. Panic surged through her as she realized the gravity of her predicament. She was stranded, miles from home, with no cell service to call for help. Night was falling fast, and the temperature was plummeting even faster. Just when her hope began to dwindle, she saw bright headlights cutting through the snow. A snowplow was approaching. Relief washed over her. The driver, a burly man with a thick beard, rolled down his window and called out. "You all right there, miss?" he asked. Sarah quickly explained her situation, her voice trembling. "Don't you worry, I'll get you out of this mess," the driver reassured her with a confident smile. He helped her into the warm cab of his snowplow, offering her a blanket and a thermos of hot coffee. "Thank you," she breathed, feeling a bit more at ease. He smiled, but there was a disconcerting glint in his eye that made her uneasy. As they drove, Sarah noticed the driver kept glancing at her in the rearview mirror, his eyes lingering a bit too long. The snowplow rumbled off the main road, onto a deserted side road, making Sarah's heart race with uncertainty. Chapter 3. Ice-Cold Terror. The frozen lake stretched before them, a vast expanse of white beneath the star-studded sky. The air was crisp, and the silence was only broken by the occasional crack of the ice. It was New Year's Eve, and best friends Mike, Jeff, and Chris were indulging in their annual tradition ice fishing. They had been looking forward to this night for months. They had set up their gear in their usual spot, a place they had come to know well over the years. As the hours ticked by, the jovial atmosphere was shattered by the crunch of footsteps on the ice. The sound was unexpected and sent a chill down their spines. 3 figures emerged from the darkness, their silhouettes barely visible against the night sky. "Evening, fellas," one of the figures greeted, his voice deep and menacing. It was a voice that carried an unspoken threat. The 3 friends exchanged uneasy glances, their earlier excitement now replaced with a growing sense of unease. Something about the newcomers felt off. There was an air of danger that was impossible to ignore. The festive mood evaporated, replaced by a sense of dread that hung heavy in the air. As the strangers drew closer, the dim moonlight glinted off something held in the lead figure's hand. It was a gun, and its presence was unmistakable. Panic seized the 3 friends. Their hearts raced, and their minds scrambled for a way out. "Don't move!" the man growled, his eyes cold and unyielding. Wallet, phones. Now, the gunman demanded, his voice brooking no argument. Their hands trembling, the friends complied, handing over their valuables with shaking hands. The two accomplices collected the valuables, their movements quick and practiced. With their loot in hand, the three figures melted back into the darkness, leaving the friends in stunned silence. The silence that followed was deafening, a stark contrast to the chaos that had just unfolded. The three friends huddled together, their bodies shaking with cold and fear, the reality of their situation sinking in. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed these stories, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more chilling tales. Have a safe and happy New Year. Remember to be aware of your surroundings and trust your instincts. Sometimes the most ordinary situations can take a sinister turn, but most importantly, stay strange out there.